you? How have you been? Thank you for staying subscribed. Ugh, the audacity that I have. But anyways, I got a story for you. This is my 4th pregnancy. Now, it's gonna be all over the place. It's gonna be all over the place. I'm making this after the video because I forgot to do an intro. And yeah, I was telling the story, but I feel like it's a little. So yeah, but yeah, enjoy. I would tell you my most recent labor story just to like break the ice of being gone for so freaking long. And I'm recording on my phone, so I keep looking at myself instead of the camera, so just ignore that part. So so when I was on YouTube last, I was a mom of 3. Well, I was an expecting mom of 3. I was about to have my 3rd child. Y'all, I'm a mom of 4. I got pregnant again when my 3rd was like a year. Wow, she was only, no way. Yeah. Oh my God, she was only a year and 2 or 3 months. That was fun. And then, so okay, flashback to last year. I think in April I found out I was pregnant. April? May? I don't know, one of those two. With my 4th, and let me tell you the emotions that ran through my body. Man, like, you just had a baby, and like our life changed so much. We moved from Maryland to Florida. It was just a lot happening the year prior, and I don't know, you never know when it's the right time to have more kids, and then God's like, here you go, babes, right now is the right time, which I'm so happy. I love her so much. Oh, it's a girl. I have 4 daughters, girl mom for life. So anywho, so I find out I'm pregnant, all the emotions, whatever. And then everything was fine. I had no issues. I had no complications or anything. And then I find out that I had complete placenta previa. So my placenta was completely attached to the uterine wall. Man, I don't remember now. Google it. But basically, the baby can't get out naturally. So I'd have to have a C-section because my placenta was low and it was completely covering. So there is no birthing canal for her to slide into because it's completely blocked. So if I was to go into labor naturally and she was to start coming out on her own, it could have ruptured. My placenta basically could have ruptured and I could have bled out and died, and she could have died. So I was like, okay, never freaking heard of that. I've never had any issues with the placenta before. I've had my placenta in the front, so I didn't feel the baby, but I've never had it to where my birthing experience was gonna have to like be altered. So that was at 21 weeks that I found out that I had complete placenta previa, and they were like, you're gonna have to get a C-section if it doesn't move. I was like, okay. So now every single ultrasound, I'm like, okay, I hope it changes, and it didn't at all. And I was freaking terrified. So my sister has had a C-section and my sister-in-law has had a C-section. I've had friends that have had C-sections, but like I just it's unfamiliar for me, and I don't do good with unfamiliar. I don't do well with that. So I was terrified. I was crying. Also, I think part of that came from me feeling like a little bit like a failure, because I know okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but like I know we can't control these things, right? We cannot control what happens during your pregnancy. Like you just can't. You don't know what's gonna happen. You can go into labor at 20 weeks. You could miscarry. You could have a stillborn. You literally cannot predict this stuff. So, but I still felt like a failure because I'm like, why 3 completely fine pregnancies, and all of a sudden I have this weird thing that I don't know of, that's unfamiliar, that's gonna now make me have to get a C-section. Which, it wasn't the C-section that was the problem for me, truthfully. Like, whether she comes out vaginally or she comes out through a C-section, like, either way, you're bringing your baby into this world. So that's really not what bothered me. What bothered me is, like, the placenta. Like, why all of a sudden is my placenta low? Why all of a sudden is it doing all these weird things? Like, I don't know. So I was so scared. They're like, you know, you have to be careful, and it could rupture, and if it ruptures, it's not good. Like, you're at risk, your baby's at risk, you could both die if I don't make. We live almost a freaking hour from the hospital, so that was scary too. But so yeah, so then my 36-week appointment my 36-week appointment is what they said that I was going to, or is when I was going to schedule my C-section. So pull up to my 30, mind you, I was not due until January 14th, 2024, this year. So my 36-week appointment, we pull up, I go in, my phone overheated. So I'm gonna have you up here, but I don't want my phone overheating again. So I'm gonna move you here, sure. So I pull up to my appointment, okay, and I go in thinking, you know, whatever happens, happens. Like, I've been praying on it. My mom was like, talk to your body, talk to your placenta. I was like, I'll do anything. So I was doing that, and I go in for my ultrasound, and the freaking ultrasound tech tells me that bitch moved. She said, okay, she didn't say that, but she was like, your placenta moved. I was like, girl, what do you mean? She's like, it moved. I'm like, okay, do I still need a C-section? She's like, no. It completely moved out of the way. It was still low, but it completely moved out of the way. And she's like, no, you can give birth whenever the baby's ready to come out. I about fell out the table. I'm like, you're lying. I was so relieved. But at the same time, like, I was relieved, but then it was also like I already mentally prepared, like, I'm gonna have to get a C-section. I was just praying that it would either be a few days before Christmas so I could be home for Christmas, or a few, like, after Christmas so I can enjoy Christmas with my kids, right? Vaginally, you don't know what's gonna happen. So at least a C-section, I can plan it, because I already wrapped my head around this. I was prepared for a C-section. I was like, all right, I got this. So then I see the doctor. Doctor's like, yeah, go home, we'll see you next week, because it was weekly appointments. Sorry if you're shaking. So the doctor was like, yeah, see you next week. Like, you know, you ain't having a C-section now, so I don't need to see you no more. See you next week. And I get home around 1 o'clock. My fucking water breaks at 4. But it wasn't a huge break. I felt a little pop, and then just water was trickling. Now with my third, my water broke at the hospital, and it just splashed all over the floor. And I was, oh my god, I really wanted to experience that one time, and I didn't have that experience with my first two. I didn't even have that experience this time around, so only with my third, and it was such a crazy, weird feeling and sound. It was super cool. But anyways, I keep getting sidetracked. So I don't even know if I'm gonna post this because I keep going back and forth. But I just want to post a freaking video because I haven't posted in so long. So anyways, my water breaks and it's slowly leaking. And I'm like, okay, like, I know that women, their water can break and they can leak for a little while. But sometimes it's pee. So I was like, maybe I peed myself. So then I changed my clothes. 5 minutes later, my pants are soaked again. So I called and I was like, hey, can I go to the, can I come in? Can I check? Oh, my hand's getting tired. I was like, hey, I called the birthplace and I was like, should I come in? This is what I'm going through. They're like, you can come in and we can check you. I don't know, like, we have to test to see if it's your sac. I was like, okay, cool, bet. But I still had to get my kids from school. dinner, bedtime. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go at night. Like, I'm not going right now. So I waited and I went around, I don't know, I made a video on TikTok. I want to say I went around like 10:30 at night, and they did the test and it was my fluid, but I was only like 3 centimeters dilated, I think. So that was on Tuesday. No, that was Monday night. So then I was there all day Tuesday, and then they're like, all right, it had been 24 hours and I still was not, I think I was still 3 centimeters dilated. Like, she was just not coming. So they induced me with, I don't know what the name of it. It's like the letter, not the letter. Yeah, it starts with the letter C. I don't know what it's called, but it helps induce you. It's like a pill they stick up there, and then it like helps induce you or whatever. So I did that. This little girl didn't come for 4 days. She didn't come till Thursday in the morning. And like, I still was sitting at like a 4 or 5 after 3 days. I was about like 6-7 centimeters dilated, and the nurse was like, do you want that epidural? Do you want that epidural? Do you want that epidural? And I was like, no, I don't want that epidural. Like, I'm good. I'm a G. And I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. She was like, all right. She's like, this is your 4th. So once you're in labor, everything's going to go real fast. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was like, I'm not at a pain threshold that I feel like I need to get the epidural yet. And y'all ended up giving birth without epidural. I sure did, because I didn't, okay, so it does hurt, okay, and it's super freaking painful. It is uncomfortable. It hurts. I'm not gonna tell you that shit don't hurt. That shit hurts. But like, we were made to do this. That is now my 3rd child I basically gave birth to with no meds. My 2nd born, I did get the epidural, but I got it way too early. It completely wore off, so I felt everything. My 3rd, I almost gave birth in the car. And then this one, I just didn't get it. She came on her own. And then she finally came Thursday. But y'all, you know what's crazy? If you've made it this far. So what's crazy is when I was giving birth, or when I was in labor, right? I'm in the room, and the nurse gonna tell me she's the only nurse on schedule. And then there's 2 other mothers in labor, and those 2 other mothers are also 9 centimeters. There's me and 2 other women that were 9 freaking centimeters, and any of our babies could come at any time. And she's like, do not push if you feel like you have to push. And I'm like, she's like, it's just me, I'll be right back. I'm like, oh heck no, I refuse. Listen, when she sat as me and 2 other women, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. There's no motherfucking way. I looked at my man, I'm like, listen, if I had to push, you might have to deliver your child. Like, she felt like she was coming. I had the sensation of I have to poop, which they say that's the pressure down there. I'm like, I'm about to give birth. Listen, she's coming. So she calls the doctor and the other nurses, and they come in, and I was like, I have to push. They're like, if you have to push, you can push. So I was just listening to my body, and I was pushing, and she ended up coming out. She was 3.5 weeks early, a few days before Christmas. So my little Christmas baby. And yeah, man, it's crazy how like all the worry I had, I was so scared of. Oh, another thing that I was worried about too with the placenta issue is, I was like, okay, so when y'all go in for a C-section, what happens if y'all accidentally cut my placenta? Like, it can happen, and it has happened, and I can bleed out and die. I'm like, yo, I don't want to die. Like, I don't want to die. I'm not interested in that. not today. But yeah, this was crazy. If you're still here, this was crazy. This was all over the place. But I'm crazy and all over the place. So And honestly, if I'm being honest with y'all, it is so hard. I give props to these content creators that are out here posting 2-3 times a week. Like, who edits y'all's videos? When do y'all have time to make these videos? How do you make these videos? Like, I'm at home, I'm working with and then I have the kids in the house. Where do you find the time to be able to do this stuff? Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm gonna try and post once a week, twice at most if I can. I'd love to post more, but if I'm being real with you, that's too much. Or at least that's too much right now. So yeah. I am still on TikTok. I took a little hiatus, but I'm back on there as well. It's Naturally Desi, same as the YouTube. And yeah, y'all. Yeah, everybody's, working on their little side hustles, and you know what? I'm gonna get back on mine too. Thank you guys for watching. I'm now pulling up to pick the kids up, so I'm gonna end this video right here. Thanks for listening to my mumble of a story. If you'd like to hear my third birth story, I can tell you. They didn't believe that I was in labor. That was in Maryland. They didn't believe I was in labor, and I literally almost gave birth in the car, so that was fun. If you have any suggestions, drop them down in the comments. If you want to share your birth story with me, I love listening to those. I love watching them. I cry every time. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Those of you that are still subscribed, thank you so much for sticking around. And I'll see you next video.